What?
What?
Why did you look behind me?
I looked at you harder because it looked like you had something on the inside of your nose. You did not.
Boogers, probably.
No. You don't get boogers.
Check.
No boogers. You're clean. Wide open, gaping hole right to the brain. Yum.
Good for my airflow. You know what else is good for your airflow?
What?
A nice hot steaming bowl of SMSoup.
Good for your pores. I don't know about your airflow.
Good for your holes. What? Your ear holes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. Goes into the brain, but not on it.
Don't touch the brain. I'm Shelby.
No, we're starting over. Why'd you just look at me?
I didn't. Are we actually starting over?
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Shelby.
And together we're here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions like, waiter, should we raise our prices when people want to eat here the most?
Yeah. That's what the waiter says. Because waiters, believe it or not, make all the decisions. They cook your food.
Or we might ask, how is the soup made? How you doing, Shelby?
Pretty good. I feel like leading up to this, I was like, I have something to say in the beginning, and it has now left me. But no, I'm good. Yeah, it really did. It really did.
Where'd it go? There it is.
I'm like annoyed. It really did, and my brain is empty.
It's coming back.
No, it's not.
Here it comes.
It's gone.
Here it goes. Here it comes. You see it?
Uh-huh.
There it is. What is that? What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I'm good. Just here. I had a really random thought this past week.
Is this it? Is this you remembering?
No.
Oh.
And
well, no, hang on. Why don't we wait until you remember?
No, we're gonna be here a while. This is super random, and I know really means nothing, but remember how I used to be like really caught up on like stuff, like what the stuff we have, and I'd like be constantly cleaning and wanting to get rid of stuff and like feeling overwhelmed about how much stuff we had. Remember those days? Remember last week?
I was gonna say yesterday.
Well, I was feeling like I haven't felt that way in like a while, which I think says two things. Mostly one thing. I actually have somewhat of a life now. Like I feel like it was like enhanced by like lockdown and COVID because there like wasn't anything else to do. My like work had been like heavily cut back, and I think it like enhanced a problem I already had. You know. Mm-hmm. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, I was looking at the inside of your nose. I was about to start faking, like I was nodding off, but then I thought better of it when you looked at me.
So you know that's in help. So I feel like that like enhanced it. So now I'm definitely just like busier and have other shit to do and want to do other things, which is positive. But the way it came to me is that I was like, oh my God, like I am a bit of a mess tornado. Like when I'm in a space and doing something, it looks chaotic after I leave the space, and it takes a bit to clean it up and like get it all back together. And our upstairs has been a bit of a mess tornado for a few weeks because of things I've been doing. And I was like walking around and I was like, sure, I'd like to clean up the space, but it doesn't like bother me. Like I'm not stressed about it. I'm not like mad outside of when I can't find something. And I was like, I'm like those old people in cottages who like are crammed with shit, and you walk in and you're like, how do they live like this? But it's like, no, they just like, they don't care anymore.
No, it's different. It's totally different. You have organized chaos.
Yeah.
And
old people don't have organized chaos.
Well, you don't just have stuff that is only being picked up and used sparingly.
Yeah, that's true.
You have a lot of stuff that the mess is all stuff that you're actively like trying to work through and sort and stuff like that to make it easier for once you do get around to it. It's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different.
It's absolutely a mess, but there's two different types of messes.
There's also there will be an end to the mess in a sense.
Right. Or
it's not a mess that is accumulating just because of life. It's
exactly.
a mess that is accumulating because that is its current state of existence.
There's
waiting to be turned into something else.
It's not I don't know. I don't have the words, but like I don't have the words. I'm sorry.
No, we'll wait till it comes back to you.
No, I actually need to go lay down.
But no, just like
it's not.
I just had a weird
Just
realization.
to have a mess.
It's not like my collection of stuff.
It's not. I took off my clothing and just threw it on the ground, and then I ordered McDonald's and decided to eat that on the ground next to the clothing. That on the ground, and
that's just a usual Tuesday for me.
Your mess isn't. Look up a picture of Asmongold, who I think we talked about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. He's a streamer who had some pretty shitty takes about not caring about AI.
Yeah.
Go look up a picture of his room. That's a mess.
Oh, really?
That's a mess. That is just a mess and just like bred out of like I just don't care.
Like a teenage boy's room.
Yes. It's a teenage boy who is able to live on his own.
Right,
which is the scariest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know how to do his laundry.
Right.
I'm not talking about Asmongold anymore. I'm talking about a teenage boy.
Right.
Doesn't know how to do his own laundry. Doesn't know how to cook for himself. So he's constantly just ordering food.
Yeah.
He pisses in Mountain Dew bottles.
Ew.
Apparently that's the thing. People pee in bottles.
Why? If you have a bathroom. Also, like, truly, if worst case, you have a sink, I presume. You know, like, why the bottle? You're increasing your chance of making a mess. And what are you doing with the bottle then? You know what I mean? Like, if truly worst case, bathroom is somehow decimated, non-existent. You got one of those rare New York apartments that didn't come with a bathroom. You have a sink.
Yeah.
I genuinely wouldn't judge someone if they were like, that's my option. I'd be like, yeah, I would get it. At least it's not a fucking bottle.
I wouldn't get that. Why don't you have a toilet?
I don't know. Crazy shit happens, you know?
Why don't you have a toilet?
Anyway,
why is the sink your only
Spencer,
option?
how are you doing?
I'm good. We were joking around about how it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks since we recorded an episode.
Something like that. It's been a while.
But I feel like this early readings on this episode, 8 minutes in. It's good. This is a good episode. I simultaneously love and hate when we have extended breaks like that.
Yeah.
I think this one was a little too long.
I agree.
But
it made me feel like, not like I didn't want to do another one, but I definitely was like, we don't have anything to worry about.
I know. Yep. Yeah. I was going to say, not that I'm like dreading this by any means. Again, 8-9 minutes in, this is the best probably episode we've ever had. But yeah, I'm happy to be doing it again.
Yes, me too.
And now we potentially are going to pre-record another episode.
Possibly. Which, talking about best episodes we've ever had, our first movie club might be our most watched podcast episode. Last week was 1988. Yep, 1983.
Last week was 2024, Shelby. I don't think you understand how time works.
And I'm pretty confident, without a shadow of a doubt, that is our most watched podcast episode, which is crazy. I went to go see if anyone like really disagreed with anything we said, and no one did. So I guess we're right all the time. That's what that means. So
did anybody? Were there any comments?
No.
I was gonna say I tried to look for that.
Yeah.
None.
They said we hate you.
Not even a sausage.
Yeah. But that's exciting.
Cool. I don't know why you're talking about. I'm talking about my life right now.
Sorry. How are you doing, Spencer?
Okay. Just because I started talking about the podcast wasn't an invitation for you to continue talking about the podcast. Was there something else you wanted to say about the podcast?
No, that was really it.
Oh.
Obviously, just as a reminder, we're doing 1979 as our next movie club at the end of April. I still haven't posted the graphic, which is exactly what I said would happen last week. It's made, just hasn't been posted, which is the most me thing in the world. But that'll be posted on our Instagram and TikTok at SMSoup Podcast. Or just go back and listen or look up 1979 Best Picture or listen to the entire 1983 Movie Club podcast just to hear what movies are next. But yeah, just wanted to give a little shout out to that because that was exciting. That an episode I didn't really expect to do that well. I thought it'd be fun. But I
it was
don't know.
fun. I had fun.
I don't know if like the naming convention of it just like worked. If people just have strong feelings. I mean, I know people just have strong feelings about media. So I was going for all the top like actors and recognizable names that I could put in the title.
Austin and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday. I really hate, he was playing a game that fans of the series weren't a big fan of this like standalone game.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people have said that they were like,
problems with it.
yeah, it's just not as good as the others.
It didn't hold if you were a cult fan. It didn't ring true for you.
Right.
I presume
or something
was
like
most
that.
of the basis, yeah.
And he was playing it and he was just like, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and I don't think he's this type of person, and you and I certainly aren't this type of person. I would say really at all. Definitely for the most part, where just because people are so against something, like people are so vocal about a movie being terrible or a show being terrible or a game being terrible, doesn't mean that we aren't going to give it a try ourselves.
Oh yeah, 100%. The only instance where that would probably happen is if from the get-go we watched something and went, that is not interesting to us. Like we don't have interest in seeing that, and it just so happens to overlap. The people are like, this sucks, and we're like, yeah, we kind of had a feeling we wouldn't like it.
Yeah,
that's the only time that seemingly overlaps. If anything, I feel like when people are so vocal about it, we want to understand.
Yeah,
why people are so
morbid
vocal
curiosity.
About it. Yeah, a little bit. Like, is it really that bad? Like. Yeah. As we have a list of movies that we passionately tell people not to watch. Yeah. When people get so passionate about something, we're like, there's got to be a reason.
Here's the thing. I'm not, and again, this is a lot of like the messaging that Austin and I were kind of going for. I'm not the type of person who's going to say you can't.
Oh, yeah.
You shouldn't or anything like that, right? If you're asking me for my opinion, though, and you're like, Spencer, should I watch Elvis?
Yeah.
Like, no, you shouldn't.
Yeah. In my opinion, you should not.
But if you end up watching it and you're like, I don't understand why you hated it so much, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I hated it so much.
Sure.
But I don't hate you for liking it. And I was saying, and I talked about this with like Mike too. It's like, I played the newest Saints Row game and people fucking hate that game. And he actually just started playing it and he's like, it's literally Saints Row. It's just dumb, fun Saints Row. Yeah. There's nothing to write home about. Is it a good game? Maybe not.
Sure.
But is it what you need in the moment when you're like, I want to play a Saints Row game? Yeah. Yes, that is exactly what it is.
There's a giant difference between like, it's okay to be critical. Like that's fine to have an opinion, whether it's a popular opinion or not. There's a huge difference between just like having critiques about something and not being able to just fucking enjoy it.
Well, right. And my thing is
or
that people
disencouraging other people
let it like warp their perception of things so greatly, whether it's like because somebody else said it, whether it's because they had the experience.
Yeah.
Where they will get to the point where they turn their nose up at you. They think lesser of you for enjoying something.
Yeah.
And I just like
I think it's a mix of not that anything I'm saying is like crazy or not already been said, but I'd say it's a huge mix of social media where everyone's a critic, everyone can be an influencer, everyone can share their thoughts, and some people listen, and whatever, that's a whole thing. And two, because of the age of media, there's so much media that I think some people get really worried about, like, I have to see the good stuff. Which is fine. Like, I get it. Like, you're like, I don't want to waste my time with the bad. I only want to do the good. And I get it. But also, there's something of everything out there.
Well, right. And like also like personal preference plays such a like huge factor. Like everybody can rant and rave about how amazing Oppenheimer is.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't care about history,
Yeah, then you're not gonna fucking like it.
and you don't, and like you haven't liked a single Christopher Nolan
Yeah,
movie, and his
literally.
movies just don't resonate with you,
Yeah,
you're not gonna like Oppenheimer.
exactly.
So who fucking cares?
Exactly.
And you can say like, I do it, and I kind of hate it because I hate when people do it to me. But when I like say a movie that like means a lot to me,
Yeah.
or like I think is really good, Reservoir Dogs, right,
Yeah.
is like one of those movies where it's like, I should know that most people probably haven't seen that movie.
Yeah.
Yet when somebody tells me they haven't seen Reservoir Dogs,
You're like,
I have
"Oh."
that stupid like whiplash reaction of like, you haven't seen Reservoir. And it's like, I hate when people do that, and I know I do it.
Yeah.
That is way less harmful than you liked this thing. I hate you.
Yeah.
Like, and I
Yeah.
think so many people are like that.
Yes.
Or they like think less of you for liking something. And I think that's insane. Like if I told somebody's like, oh, what have you been playing? I'm like, oh, I played the new Saints Row. They're like, what do you think of it? I'm like, it's fine. And they're just like, oh, I'm taking your gamer card.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you play Call of Duty.
And I'm down for having like I'm literally fine with like conversing about how did you feel about like I enjoy that. I
Mhm.
actually really like that, and being like and trying to discuss like, oh, like do you think you'd like a movie that has blah 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 in it? Like maybe like if you like this and watch, like I like that. I like having that discourse. I like having that conversation. But also this comes up a lot in like the book community. About how like we've now hit a point where there's so many public opinions and they all start to streamline into the same public opinions that you can't even there's very little like, oh, I just stumbled upon this and this is how I feel about it. Or I'm just not even about how I feel about it. I just stumbled upon this and read it or watched it and experienced it because it sounded up my alley. Like there's no more of like you just like you on the search for it.
Yeah.
And like movies, like there's literally being movies made and shows made all the fucking time, especially now with streaming and everyone having their own originals. And it's like, if you're not one of the big ones that blows up, like you kind of just like get ignored.
Yep.
And maybe in 8 years, you'll like hear about it from a friend who went down a rabbit hole like weirdly one Thursday night and like watched it till 3 a.m. Like it's like that shit doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because
Literally.
everyone's telling you what to watch and you feel like FOMO if you don't watch it, and you're the crazy one who like, what do you mean you didn't watch it? And like it's so crazy.
The mid 2000s, we like talk about a lot about like with like rom-coms and stuff, but it's also just like when like so many of those types of movies that came out at that time.
Yeah.
Like there's just there's just so many hidden movies that you're just like, I did not realize that Sandra Bullock and Anne Hathaway and Matthew McConaughey and Mark Ruffalo, who manages to weasel his way into every fucking movie from like pre 2011. And you're just like, I didn't realize these four were in a movie together.
Yeah.
And then you watch it and you're like, that was like pretty good.
Yeah.
And I've never once heard somebody talk about it.
Also, like I
really
like,
hope those four were in a movie together. I would piss my pants.
I probably randomly. I also feel like, like older movies get really neglected because there's so much new stuff and there's a pressure to keep up with what's new.
That's what's so great about doing this like movie club thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, again, I know how the popularity contest of like these award shows works.
Yeah.
So yes, we're bound to miss a gem from that year. It's gonna happen.
Sure.
Whatever. But it's like a great jumping off point to ensure that it's like at the end of the day, the powers that be said that these were the 5. So at the very least, we got to say like we saw the 5 from that year.
Right.
Right. For good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just crazy. Basically watch and read and do whatever the fuck you want.
So anyway, how I've been. I've been getting really good at making these coffee drinks.
You have been getting so good at making coffee drinks. It's been the best.
No
Although I'm gonna put your
been having like 2 or 3 a day.
We
Actually, I accidentally shit myself yesterday.
Yeah, that's been Spencer's 2024 activity has been yeah. What's up?
Yeah, and you're gonna put my skill to this as to do a hot one.
Well, okay, go ahead.
What else were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say you've been testing out your like coffee making skills.
Yep.
We started with a few flavors and iced.
Yeah.
and you've been practicing that for a few
I don't
weeks.
have to bother with the frothing of the milk, which makes me nervous.
That's fair. And you've been practicing that for a few weeks, and I think you've been getting really good at it. And I love it. I love just you being like, "Do you want a coffee drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love a coffee drink."
How do you feel about me?
A little cafe in my home. What?
How do you feel about me?
Like, pretty good.
Okay.
Like above lukewarm.
You love everything else, but not me, I guess. That was the other thing I was gonna say, because you said about this being like my new like thing for the year.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been very bad about doing the things that I said I wanted to try and do this year.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not shocked on either of our parts. Yeah, it's a bummer. It's been March, it's the whole conversation of like March is actually the beginning of the year,
I do want to try and use, now that it is the beginning of March, I do want to try and reset.
Yeah.
Try and get back on track where possible. It doesn't help that like January sucks. I got sick in January. Yeah. You're terrible about holding me accountable with things. I haven't been doing a good job on my end either. But it's like, got to get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Got to use this whiteboard. The
what
goals that we have set
I was gonna say,
are
what are you
so achievable. They are literally like so surface level.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, did you make an effort?
Yeah.
And
normally
for the past
no.
2 months almost, the answer has been no, basically. So.
Not completely.
No, I know.
But
we started out actually pretty strong in January.
Did.
And like we ended January kind of like started to like fizzle, and then February I would say we were bad.
Yeah. As a whole.
But yeah. There have been a lot of like there was a lot of goings on and stuff like that. So it whatever.
It happens. It fluctuates.
We're gonna starting now. Here we go. So that's something that's been like frustrating, I guess, a little bit. Yeah.
I get that.
Like I gotta edit. I gotta do some editing and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like I just keep pushing it off. And I'm just like, I wanna like.
You and I are both really bad with like implementing structure outside of what's deemed necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're both just big like, oh, I'd rather just like lay down, or
I just want to play video
games.
Yeah, but also technically when I play video games, at the very least I am working towards something.
Yeah, normally
a goal that I set for myself. So it's
true.
like at the very least I'm not a piece of shit in that regard.
Yeah. You're kind of a piece of shit.
I'm kind of a piece of shit.
No, I get that. I've kind of had the same like thought going through my head. I've somewhat forced myself at the end of every month to be like, what did I do this month? Did I kind of do what I wanted to do? Did I not? End of February, I had a hard realization. I think I literally said this like 2 weeks ago. I feel like I said this exact sentence where I was like, I set a goal for 2024 to be, it can be literally the same as 2023 personally wise, like what I do, what I'm striving for, but I need healthier boundaries and like work-life balance, and not pushing myself that I'm like in physical pain at the end of the day for no good reason. Like I am the problem. And I think it was end of February or middle of February-ish. I was like, I'm not doing that at all. I'm not doing the thing I literally said I want. The only thing I wanted to implement was like, I can keep doing what I want to do, but just like be smart, just like be a little bit smarter about it. And I've been the exact opposite. I think I've actually been dumber in some ways, because like I've had like a slower start to the year, which is normal. And I've been taking advantage of that by like filling my time up with other shit and still not like being balanced at all. Like, as you know, I've had a horrible habit of staying up really late and just like destroying my energy and like just like being dumb. And I'm not even saying I like regret it, because I don't, but I'm also like, I need to be better. Like I need to be smarter about my life.
It's really frustrating that you sit there and say that and then continuously like
keep doing it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm saying I'm dumb.
Okay.
I'm dumb.
Like, yeah, okay. I will say that from like my end, my perspective, I'm like super happy with how like the other side of content and stuff has gone, because like we've been very consistent about our like the stream schedule, where it's like Mondays we're working on trophies, Thursdays we're doing Throwback Thursdays, we're playing through these old games finally, which is so much fun.
It's actually very fun. It's been I've been enjoying that more than I thought I would. I knew I'd enjoy it, but I'm actually like getting into it, you know? What? I don't know, because I just like don't know how they're gonna be. I don't know how these games are gonna be.
You thought you were gonna hate it?
I didn't think I was gonna hate it.
Do you hate it?
No.
We were only 3 games in.
Yeah, and I kind of want it to be over.
We're actually basically 2 games in, because we're like 1 game complete, 1 game almost complete, and I'm like halfway through another.
Yeah.
But like I'm really I'm thrilled with how that's been going.
Yeah.
It's been going exactly how I want. Like, it feels like for the first time in a while where every day where it's like we know we're gonna stream. One, we have a set schedule, which is insane.
I know, the thing we're really bad at, we're doing in that regard.
So we have a set schedule, right? It's like consistent every Monday, every Thursday.
We start at the same time.
Yes, exactly. I'm so happy that I've like implemented that.
That's how bad we are at schedules, is every time we're streaming, we always start at 7, and you every time go, will you be ready for 7?
And you never are.
I am ready for 7.
Dude.
I don't
even want to talk about this right now. It's gonna upset me. You're gonna upset me. Is that what you want to do?
Oh.
You're gonna upset me. You sit there and you do what you do at night before bed, which is read. And you fucking read until the very last second.
Yeah.
And then you waltz over here as I'm like scrambling to finish setting stuff up. And I'm like, well, now I need to go pee and everything. And then you're just like, well, I'm ready. It's 7:01. I'm ready.
Why are you scrambling to set up?
Because I only have 2 hands.
So you need to get started setting up earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, but it doesn't help that like whatever. We'll watch an episode of something.
Yeah.
And then you choose to and you're like, "Oh, well, it's only 6:45." And it's like, "Okay, well, now I'm scrambling to set stuff up." And you're like, "Well, I'll read." I contributed to the watching of something. But now I'm just going to read. It's like shit like that.
Yeah.
But you're right, it is me, technically. It's my setup. I need to just do it quicker. That's really it. It doesn't actually make me that angry. But I ask you every day because you are a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
To get
period.
2 nights ago, I think, I was like falling asleep on the couch. And I was like, I had said probably 20 minutes earlier, do you want to go upstairs? And you said yeah, and then you continued to sit there. And it is like my biggest pet peeve's not the word. Ick is like a really dumb saying.
It irks you.
It fucking frustrates the hell out of me. That it's like, do you want to do this thing? And you go, yeah. And you will not start moving until 5 minutes after I've started moving.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I also don't want to get moving. So sometimes like it would be nice if you were the one who got moving to motivate me to like start getting the blood flowing everywhere again.
Yeah.
And standing up and doing the things. But instead it's like I'm twirling the keys on my finger, fucking waiting for you. And then you're finally ready. And I'm like, well, now I kind of need to go pee. And then I go pee. And then you're standing there tapping your foot like, see, I'm ready. Crazy how that worked. But I'm so focused on like making sure I'm ready and then waiting on you. And then I'm just like, oh, fuck. Like this other thing.
I feel like you and my mom could go down a rabbit hole of that conversation.
Yeah. Sure. So anyway, what we're actually here to talk
so Spencer,
about.
How are you doing? Yeah, but we're actually
that was a lot of catching up.
Well, yeah, we haven't talked for 2 weeks, so of course we had to blab.
Well, yeah, okay. I had a question and everything, but we'll save that
next week.
Shut up. Are you gonna be ready for 7?
No, not today. What are we talking about, Spencer? You surely didn't hint at it in the intro.
There was the news cycle was a pumping, and it all started with reports that Wendy's was going to implement surge pricing.
Or variable pricing. Is that what it's also called?
Yeah, basically saying that like during the high demand times, we're going to charge more for our items.
Mm-hmm. Wendy's, already notoriously expensive.
Right, like fast food in general has like gotten expensive, and this isn't like a commentary to be like, thanks Biden. 4 years ago, I'm sure, like, yeah, fast food was already getting out of control 4 years ago.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm not going to get into the game of going, thanks Trump, right?
Yeah.
People love to say that like things were so much cheaper under Trump compared to Biden. Again, not trying to get into politics, but it's
fast
like,
food's been getting out of control. It's been
things
losing...
were cheaper under Obama, but before him, things were cheaper under Bush, and before him, like you can keep fucking going back. So like, let's not play that game.
Fast food is not necessarily the quick, dirty, cheap thing it's been promoted as now for a while.
I don't want to tip my hand at this point.
A while.
I don't want to tip my hand at this point because this is something that I was going to bring up later, but I am just going to I'm just going to say it now. If you think that the president is actively calling the shots and like ruining the economy,
and is creating inflation,
right? Like, yes, they're gonna have policy, but if you really like want to take a step back and think about it, it's like, why does just their policy? Oh, it's the fucking 10 corporations that control everything. Go, I don't like that policy that you're trying to do. So now I'm going to make life living hell for everybody else, even if your policy is actively trying to make things better for everybody else, so that you stop doing that policy because that'll make things worse for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole reason why I wanted to kind of bring up the Wendy's thing is that it's just like, I can't even think of all the things that have just like slowly gotten worse and worse over our life.
Okay.
Right? Like we're past 25.
Yeah.
You know, so
on the other side of the hill.
We're all, it's all downhill from
One
here.
foot in the grave.
No, I mean, not to be morbid, but like 27 could be a midlife point. It's not insane to think that somebody could die of seemingly natural causes at 54. That's not insane, right? It's
concerning, but it's not insane. Yeah.
You know, any number of things. I guess it wouldn't be natural. It'd probably be some sort of health
pre-existing,
concern. Yeah. But still, you get what I'm saying.
Pre-existing. Jesus.
It's not insane, right?
Yeah.
It's also not insane to live to 100. So let's say this is the quarter life.
Yeah.
Right? We're a quarter of the way through. I can't even tell you all the things that have clearly gotten worse.
Yeah.
And I can't point to any one thing that has caused those things.
Yeah.
Except the
capitalism and greed.
Yeah, except for the fact that literally so many things are controlled by just like 10 single entities.
We made entities and corporations a human.
Yes.
And that is where it went wrong.
And I don't know when that happened.
I don't know.
But it is insane to me. And
probably,
in some ways,
what's always, it was probably Reagan.
It was probably Reagan. In some ways, it's really good that like you can protect yourself by creating a business that if anything were to go wrong,
it's an entity. It is not you.
The issue is that rich fucks have now used that as a way, or use it as a way. It's not like a newfound idea. They've been doing it since its conception.
Right.
They use it as a way to skirt laws and to protect the individual behind it, so that the individual can hoard wealth.
Yeah.
And then while having all that wealth, go, company's bankrupt.
Yeah.
Oops, all bankrupt.
Oopsie.
It's so frustrating. And this is just one of those things, the whole Wendy's thing, where it's just like, this is just another fucking example of it's our whole life is just death by 1,000 cuts. It is.
Yeah.
You get paid. Obviously, taxes come out of that. And I'm not even going to bitch and moan about taxes. Whatever. If taxes actually could go to good things, great idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Conceptually, good.
Yeah.
Execution wise,
Not good.
we'll see.
Could use some work.
Yeah. Meets some expectations.
Barely.
I would love for it to meet all expectations.
Yeah.
If it could even exceed expectations.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Right? Whatever. I'm not gonna like get into like, oh, I can't believe I make a dollar and the government steals a dime or whatever the saying is, right? So you have taxes, but then it's okay, but then it's where you live.
Yeah.
And utilities. You can't just have internet.
Yeah.
You can't just have electricity.
Yeah.
You can't without a shadow of doubt be assured that you will not be cold or dying of heat, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't guarantee, right? So you got that. You've got like now if you want to have any sort of entertainment, that's still a little bit more. You know, if you want to get food, cheap food, fast food, right? Well, it's like not anymore.
Yeah.
There used to be a deal that you could get 2 Big Macs for $1.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I don't know. I want to say that was while we were alive, but not like while we were
like we wouldn't have been driving there and buying
and
it.
we probably wouldn't even mentally be able to remember.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember that being a thing.
Okay.
But that used to be a thing.
Sure.
And I get that the dollar changes
and
everything like that. But come on.
It used to be a $5 footlong.
It used to be a $5 footlong.
And now it's buy a footlong, get one free.
No, now it's Quiznos.
Oh.
Anyway, it's just like everything in life is death by 1,000 cuts. And then people like talk about how like tipping's a big problem, right?
Yeah.
Like
and to mention the big, on top of everything you're saying, a huge problem is that pay has not increased at the rate that all of this has increased. Is a ginormous issue.
And the thing is that there's just nothing to stop anybody from just jacking up the prices on anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing to stop Wendy's from doing this thing.
Yeah.
Public outcry.
Sure.
But
like at the end of the day, they'd do it. There'd be a probably drop in the beginning and then things would even out in the end, most likely.
If you have 100 people.
Yeah.
Right? And they subscribe to something that costs $15.
Yeah.
That's $1,500, right?
Yeah.
You decide maybe we can capture more revenue. Yeah. Even if it means that we're going to lose some users, right? So now you up it to $20 and you lose 10 people. Well, now you're still making $1,800 as compared to $1,500.
Yeah.
So you're totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Because you don't care that 10 people, like maybe the subscription is like life-saving.
Yeah.
You don't care that those 10 people no longer have this life-saving thing because you're capturing more money.
Yeah.
And that literally sums up everything that goes on around us.
Yeah.
If you want to understand like why the price of something went up, it's because even if it gets you to stop buying it, one, the odds are you're going to go, I don't have a fucking choice.
Yeah.
So I don't have a choice. I have to get Pop-Tarts. I don't have a choice.
You fucking have to.
It sucks. It fucking sucks. And the worst part about this is that Wendy's implementing this, right? Okay, sure. Big brain move. High demand times, we're going to up the prices a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to make more money. The frustrating thing is that without a shadow of doubt, that extra money is not going to go to pay the fucking workers working during that high demand time.
Absolutely not.
You're not going to use this as a way of like bolstering the wages of the people who are in that high demand time, having to rush around to ensure that the customer has a satisfactory experience.
Yeah.
Right? That's not happening.
Right.
That money is just going to Joe Wendy's wallet.
Yeah. I find the concept of variable pricing so interesting in the way that Wendy's proposed using it, because I wanted to ask this. I wanted to be like, who uses a variable pricing model? Like who does? Which
Uber.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's stuff like that.
Yeah. And
And like with Uber, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I assume the driver makes more
Hopefully
money
makes a higher percentage. Well, it makes the
during
same
high
percentage
demand.
a higher amount because it's more money.
Right.
Hopefully.
I don't know how that actually
Possible.
works.
Well, I was thinking it from the sense of like, oh well, from a like a goods selling point of view, selling of goods, there is normally a hike around the holidays because there's higher demand, because there's it's like you are probably having to like put out more up front to have more stock, to like put more work in to have the demand met. And so there is probably a small increase in most things, or they're doing sales in a very specific way that they're enticing you to buy more at once, like which isn't quite the same, but they're like using that model of thought probably from like October through December. Retail is doing that most likely. But yeah, I guess Uber is the perfect like day to day. That's what I was trying to think of, the day to day variable pricing, because all I could think of was retail and the seasonal variable pricing. Yeah, I guess Uber would be the good one. But yeah, with food, one, obviously, again, I'm not gonna go into it because we all like think it. Fast food is like fucking outrageous anymore. It's like not quality for the same amount of money you're gonna spend at probably like a regular place. I literally got in a conversation with some guy yesterday. I was at an event and he literally was like really random, but he was like, oh, I found this like burger place. And funny enough, it was a place you and I had like found. And I was like, oh yeah, I was like, that's in like such a weird spot. And he was like, yeah, I was so mad because I'd been at McDonald's like a few days before. And he's like, I spent the same amount of money at this small local burger shop that I did at McDonald's. And like, you're getting better food, you're getting like, you're actually supporting local, you're actually like, and he's like, and I got like probably more food, like better, more quality, and more quantity.
More unique.
Yeah,
too,
more unique.
Right?
Like
you're talking about like a place that probably like, I mean, you just know the ingredients that are going into it are better. And then, like, also, like, maybe they have, like, a specific sauce that they like to use, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, like, a Big Mac is just Thousand Island.
Yeah. And, like, questionable looking cheese and, like, whatnot.
And the lettuce is the saddest, like, translucent lettuce you've ever seen.
Yeah. And, like, and the burger place that's local isn't shoving you out the door the minute. It's your option. You can leave immediately with it to go. But if you want to stay and hang out, like, there's not, like, chaos. Which again, that's not on the employees. I never wanted to come across that.
Is it the place that we went to that the milkshakes were?
Yeah.
Damn.
I know. And he said he got a milkshake. And I was like, I know. And I was like, no way, the machine was down. He goes, yeah, well, you know what they say. And I went, yeah, but I try to only hold that. Like, they only say it's down because they don't want to work with it for McDonald's. I was like, I try not to think that about local because my hope is like it really was down. But apparently he got one. So we're going to have to go back and try.
What are you doing later?
Oh, around 7. I'm busy. But yeah, we'll have to try to go with milkshakes. Anyway, literally yesterday I got in a conversation about that. He was like, I spent the exact same amount of money at fucking McDonald's that I did at a local like burger place.
Right. And
I was like, yeah.
And like,
I feel ya.
And you can't even really like hold on to the fact that like fast food is the key part, technically.
Fast.
The first half of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fast. Like, sure, it's quick, but like, is that really worth it?
Is that the selling point anymore? Like, is that really the selling point anymore? I view fast food as, I don't even like to use this word because I don't see it this way, as dependable. Because there will be, because of the way branding has expanded, anywhere you go, that will be an option.
Yes.
That's how I view it. Not as, dependable in quality, not as dependable in like good, but we're traveling. There's got to be something in the area.
Yeah.
That's literally how I view it anymore.
It's also just so funny that it's just like, I get this way about all of these places like Wendy's and Starbucks and places like that, where it's like, they try to pull this shit and it's like, how fucking reliant are people on you that you can pull this stunt? And
it's obviously a region to region.
And
thing.
yeah, and I was gonna say, and in some ways, like
unfortunately
we know plenty of people who are like, I gotta have my Starbucks, and it's like, I was saying this to Austin, it's just like, I'm begging you, just make a fucking cup of coffee at home.
Yeah,
like, please.
I will say,
I don't understand people like
in
that.
certain regions, unfortunately, like giant corporations have done a really good job of forcing out pretty much
Mhm.
everyone else, which is really fucking annoying and upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
So in some regions, that probably is your easiest go-to option, which is again really fucked up. So it's a region conversation, but the people who are like posting about it online are probably not the people who are actually
Yeah.
regionally locked into that as their option. The same with like
It's
all that
just-
kind of shit, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's insane.
Which
Okay, I also want to say, because I just was like, oh, they're dependable for like everywhere you go. If you have a smartphone, Maps and Google and everyone has gotten so good about descriptions. You just put in burgers, coffee. There will probably be a local
pizza.
option.
Sure, Domino's will
Like,
show up.
it's
but
barely
also,
even an excuse anymore. Like, I said it as an excuse, and even as I said it, I was like, that's not even fair, because like literally we I feel like we're moving towards this. Like, we were in upstate New York like months ago, and we literally Googled like cafe. Sure, I'm sure 4 to 5 Dunkins and Starbucks showed up, and we were like, oh, this local one looks really cute. We went there and had a great lunch and coffee, and like it was packed. Like, it was great. Like, that is becoming like, it's barely even an excuse anymore. Yeah. Sure, they have the advertising, so if you're driving on a highway, you know there's one in 5 miles. But like, I don't know, with smartphones, it's like almost not even an excuse anymore.
yeah.
And you're gonna spend the same money and probably have something better.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I can't even tell you. I know we like judged all the fast food. I know where this is more about the pricing model. And we did just judge all the like
The
chicken places and that fast food. But like, I really like we do not seek it out.
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna spend the money, I'd so much rather find somewhere like local and
Agreed.
have a better experience.
Yeah. So going back to the whole Wendy's thing.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. I mean, but we gotta get back to it.
I know.
Obviously, a lot of public outcry.
Yes.
A lot of people saying, Wendy's, you're not shit.
Yeah.
If you think that you can pull this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Public outcry
Yeah.
doesn't translate to actual like boycotting and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
Right? Like, you got a lot of like desk chair champions.
Sure.
Who it's very easy for them to say it. And they themselves, like, I can sit here and be like, fuck you, Wendy's. I'll never eat at you again if you do this. And I know I can do that.
But we also weren't like
Already
giving
exactly.
them much money to begin with.
Right. So apparently after the public outcry, they walked it back.
Sure.
And suddenly it's like, well, that's not actually what we said. So I find it very interesting that so many different places, and this is also another issue. This is how media works.
Yeah.
Somebody says something.
Yeah.
And then all the other news companies run with it.
Yeah.
And you have no way of knowing for sure if it was actually true or not.
Yeah.
Because they said that by 2025, the fast food restaurant chain will begin testing dynamic pricing. This is from today.com,
Okay.
which is a time-based pricing strategy that companies use to increase or decrease prices for their services or items depending on the time and demand. While initially compared in the media, including on today.com, to the concept of surge pricing, Wendy's clarified how the company plans to use, quote, dynamic pricing. Quote, to clarify, Wendy's will not implement surge pricing, which is the practice of raising prices when demand is highest. We didn't use that phrase, nor do we plan to implement that practice. A spokesperson said in an email to NBC News. They added there are no plans to raise prices at high demand times. Quote, we said these digital menu boards would give us more flexibility to change the display of featured items. This was misconstrued in some media reports as an intent to raise prices when demand is highest at our restaurants. We have no plans to do that and would not raise prices when our customers are visiting us most. Any features we may test in the future would be designed to benefit our customers and restaurant crew members. Digital menu boards could allow us to change the menu offerings at different times of day and offer discounts and value offers to our customers more easily, particularly in the slower times of day.
Oh
so
my
they're now
God.
saying that
oh my God.
the good side of surge pricing, which is cheaper during slow,
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, well, of course we're going to do that.
we'll do that. But don't worry, we're not going to go more expensive during fast. It's like, it's so funny that, again, I couldn't find the original stuff.
Yeah.
All I could find was that people were saying, like, this is what they said.
Yeah.
And now I have the quotes where they're like, we wouldn't do that. Yet,
Yeah, come 2025, you'll see like, oh, we had a 10% increase across the board, but during slow times, you'll get a 15% discount.
something. Yeah, exactly. The discount during slow times will be how much a fucking Baconator was supposed to be worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah.
Whatever. Things are so bleak that, like, this is what companies choose to do.
Mm-hmm.
They see, it's the shit when people bring up like universal basic income, right?
Yeah.
If we had a way of providing everybody consistently, $1,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
That they just knew that they were going to have, and they can use that technically for whatever they want. And at the very least, you can find somewhere in the world, you can find somewhere in the country, you can find dependable housing. It can probably cover like your groceries and stuff like that, for, roughly $1,000. Like privatizing like housing is like one of the most insane things ever. Like the government could easily like buy back some of this land and provide
Mhm.
like government assisted housing,
Mhm.
which is like, if the government then like provides you with UBI, they know without a shadow of doubt you can afford the government housing, which obviously is not going to be great, right? Like if you have even like the slightest bit of like a luxury desire, like you won't be able to get this
Yeah.
probably for that. But
Yeah.
like you get a roof over your head. You have
Right.
enough money to still cover your other costs. And should you choose to be employed, which obviously would be the idea,
Yeah.
that's how you get your money to be able to still afford to do other things.
Yeah.
I feel like the option for leisure and stuff like that is just like so in the dumps that like,
Yeah.
because everything is just like so jacked up,
Yes.
Luggage on planes used to be free.
Yeah.
And then overnight, they all agreed, wait, if we all just start charging them, none of us looks like the bad guy.
Right.
And we all make more money.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, I don't know how true these numbers are. So I do want to preface that. But 4 companies control 55% to 85% of the meat market. 4 airlines control 80% of air travel. 3 companies control 92% of the soda market. 3 companies control 73% of the cereal market. Why don't you hear about it? 6 companies control 90% of the news.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucked.
Yeah.
It's fucked. The joke is like, America is not a country. It's 3 corporations in a trench coat, right? Like people love to like, to throw that one around. And it's like so stupid. And like, it's tried and like, whatever, like we've been there, we've talked about it, but it's also a little bit true.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It really fucking sucks. Yeah. I think, companies shouldn't be allowed to claim record profits and then also hit you with the prices increasing from 15 to 20. They shouldn't be able to claim record profits and then say, due to the turbulent times of the industry, we're having to lay off 5% of our workforce.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be able to claim record profits and then immediately do the shittiest fucking thing you can imagine.
Yeah.
And yet that is all it is. And they released a statement and it's like, at the end of the day, our shareholders are what's most important. And it's like, I can't imagine. I cannot fucking imagine having so much money.
Yeah.
And then saying all that matters is making sure that those people who already have more than they could ever need get more. It's insane to me. We talked about it too, where we talked about it during one of the streams, where it's like this whole thing with like AI and stuff. It's like AI is a great tool and should absolutely continue to like grow and like and get better. if we're gonna use it for the right shit.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna use it for the right shit.
Right.
And we're gonna use it in art and content and stuff like that, and it's going to cause the slop we're already being fed is only going to get sloppier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Ghosted is a movie that exists today. Something worse is going to come out soon, and it's going to be the average soon. Yeah. Like very soon, if we just keep going in this trajectory, because nobody's going to care, because your eyes, it's all your eyes have.
Yeah.
Right? And if you want to be able to
forced in front of you,
and if you want to watch movies from 1979, you can, but you're gonna have to pay $3 to watch it.
Guys, try your local library.
Or you're gonna have to, or you're already paying $15 for a premium subscription, and it happens to be included this month. But next month it may not be there, and pretty soon it may be gone forever. So you better have it physically. Yeah. I mean, we're so fucked.
I have so many thoughts. And I know it's really long, so I'm gonna skim.
I'm sorry.
No. We've tangented a lot. It's fine. One, if I know all of this is very overwhelming and like scary, and there's a lot you can't do about it for sure. But I always come back to shit like this. If there's any instance where you can support small over corporations,
definitely.
If these aren't a screaming reason to like do that, the best you can, which is not always the chance, but like whatever, like to come back to that. 2, I, without super getting into it, was reading a book that was like a lot of history from the 1860s to the 1900s, the time of, Reconstruction and like trying to build America into like what it is now. And so many of the things we were saying were being said. Like, I'm basically saying history repeats itself. Like this is, it's very stressful. It's very overwhelming, but, any ounce of looking into history will say these have all been arguments that have been had over and over again, which in one way is horrible because it's like, great, we don't learn shit. In another way, it's I want it to come across as a little less doomsday world ending, because that's what it's always been perceived as.
And I think I said this. This is like when I was talking about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg wanting to fight, and just like not being able to wrap my head around how we've like regressed to like, if we have a disagreement, we're going to be violent against each other.
I don't think we've regressed. I think we just haven't changed as much as we think.
And I said, like, at the time, I was like, maybe there's something comforting in that. Yeah. That things will never really change too much.
I want it to be comforting because I want it to not be able to have the tale of we're fucked. Like, I don't want it to be able to have that tale, because clearly we're not. Like, I mean, like, things are bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like be hyper optimistic. Yeah. But also, like, I don't want it to be spun the tale of like, oh my God, like this is never perceived. Like it's happened before. It'll probably happen again.
Also, like when we're looking back at history, we're looking at long periods of time. Like it's very easy to sit here and be like, wow, 1800 to 1900, so much change happened. 1900 to 2000, so much change happened. And now it feels like nothing's happening. Well, it's been 20 years. Yeah. It's been 24 years. It's been 25 years, right? And it's like, give it to 2100. Yeah. And you're going to be able to look back at the last 100 years and be like, holy fuck, a lot of stuff changed.
Once you can aerial view a situation, it's going to be viewed so differently, and you can just take the contextual parts out of it and be like, this is what happened. You can sum it up in a sentence, and like that's crazy because the day by day feels like novels upon novels. Yeah, and third comment is, funny enough, this all kind of ties into what we'll be talking about next week, which is so not intended. I mean, it makes sense, but we didn't talk about this beforehand. But next week we can if there's anything else you want to say, we can. But next week we're going to be kind of having a question of what has driven society more. Should I just say it?
No, save it.
Okay. We're going to kind of be having a debate on what has driven society, and I'm looking back from the 1800s to today. And I think a lot of it will show how much we've just really repeated ourselves over and over again. And I think it's going to be a really fun, nothing too crazy, like not deep or really, but it's really going to kind of drive the conversation of like what has driven society over the generations and how much things haven't seemingly changed. And I think that's gonna be such a fun episode. I'm really excited. But yeah, it kind of ties back to a lot of what we said today. Yeah, I just like, I like to say that like history's been repeating itself a lot. Yeah. And I don't mean that to be dreadful. I mean, though it can be. I mean that to be like, don't let it be spun as like like this is the worst thing ever. It's never happened before. It's all to a degree happened before.
Yeah.
We're very prone to repeat ourselves.
Yep. And I think like the last thing I want to say,
Yeah.
because I somewhat feel bad that this happens in so many episodes where like at the end of it, all we're basically saying is that like capitalism bad.
Yeah. It's the big bad wolf.
And at this point, like you have to kind of come to grips to it, right? Like that is just what America is at this point. It is a capitalist dream.
Yeah.
The thing that's so frustrating is that like, and this goes with any ideology,
Mm-hmm.
it has spun out of control.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the worst stage it could possibly get to.
Yeah.
And now to claw out of that is damn near impossible.
Yes.
Like, I think the only way to actually get out of it, stay with me here.
Oh, God. Okay.
Just one.
No.
What?
What are you about to say?
I was just going to say one supervillain from Titan collects 5 Infinity Stones.
Okay. No.
I'm just saying it could help.
No.
It could help.
No.
That you know, like seriously, like the way to like get out of it is like damn near impossible at this point. I feel like
It's very daunting.
but also I don't know. You know, if everybody could just collectively have a can-do mindset,
collective action, baby,
like the little capitalist you should be. You know, the problem is, like we were talking about, corporations have become people.
Yes.
If every single person had the mindset of like, I am going to make myself better to try and be better than my brother and my sister,
Sure.
and to prove that my product is the best, right? And like get that product out to people, that's inherently good. That's fine.
Sure.
Whatever, right? I'm going to capture a market and
Mhm.
I'm going to do my thing and I'm going to do it well
Mhm.
and I'm going to be paid handsomely for it.
Mhm.
The problem is that Joe Amazon exists,
Mhm.
and Joe Amazon can just buy up the person who says, I'm going to capture a market and do my best and do this thing well and be rewarded handsomely for it.
Yeah.
And now that competition doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Right.
That's the problem with the stage of capitalism we're at.
Yes.
If capitalism can breed competition, and competition can be good, and that can lead to a good market and a healthy market. And the problem is that market does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have 5 or 6 or however many I said corporations that are doing the right thing by capitalism standards,
Mhm.
but nothing is coming to stop them.
Yeah.
They've gotten too big, too fast. Nothing can stop them.
Yeah. They've hit their limit of being able to actually grow without being absolutely destructive, which they've arguably already been doing that.
Yeah, they have been.
But yeah.
So again, I don't want to just like hammer home that same point. So I'll walk it back a little bit. Capitalism doesn't need to be terrible.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah. We've made it. Yeah, 100%.
And if you think that you can be the outlier in capitalism
Mm-hmm.
and you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you can't. You can't do it. Don't even try. Because it's not that you actually can't, real quick.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying you can't because I don't want you to.
Yeah.
Because inevitably you're going to get bought by Amazon.
It's
and
because
you're just making them stronger.
the system's built against you.
So just buy from Amazon.
No.
Oh, don't do that. Don't buy from Amazon. Just go to Wendy's during the most extreme. Sorry. Only go during slow times.
Only go at 3 a.m.
If you're hungry, craving a Wendy's burger,
wait.
you have to wait.
You have to
starve
until
yourself out
7:30
for that 30-cent discount.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you're going to pay a $2 upcharge.
And then you might as well be eating cereal for dinner. Brought it back. We didn't even touch on it. Okay. We'll see you guys next week. We're really excited for next week's episode. Again, a little debate about society. I swear it'll be fun. It might be kind of dreadful, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. So please come next week for that. In the meantime, you can find SMSoup Podcast on TikTok and not Twitter. Instagram.
We're going to be burning books next week. That's what's fun.
And no, we're not. And SMSoup podcast on YouTube if that's where you like to find stuff. In the meantime, feel free to rate, like, heart, 5-star, all of the high five things. And we'll see you guys next week. SMSoup.
Little outro song.
Yeah, little outro. What do you think?